Hey, welcome back everybody. In today's lesson we're going to learn how we can divide integers. So our objective up top says that we'll be able to write algorithms to divide a positive and a negative number. And we want to think about how the signs of the numbers impact the sign of the quotient. For the do now, you're going to be completing these 12 problems. And you're going to either press the pause button now and do them and then unpause, or you will finish this before you pass in the packet to me. But these are just some review questions about how we add and multiply with different integers. When you were little and you were first learning about division, you probably learned about fact families. And on the right-hand box here, these are some examples of fact families. So 2 times 6 we know is 12, and we know that its multiplication is commutative. So 6 times 2 is 12. We know that 12 divided by 2 is 6, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. This is what we call a fact family. We're going to use fact families to help us make sense of division with integers so that we can understand what happens when we divide with positive and negative numbers. So we're going to fill in the blanks here. So negative 11 times 3 we know is a negative 33. And we know that when we change the order of the factors, it doesn't change our product, so that's also negative 33. Now with a fact family, the same three numbers are used, just in different arrangements. So in this blank problem here, we've already used the 3 and the negative 11, so we haven't used the negative 33 yet. So here we have negative 33 divided by positive 3 is negative 11. So we have a negative divided by a positive is a negative. Again, here we used the negative 11, we used the positive 3, but we didn't use the negative 33 yet. So we have a negative 33 divided by a negative 11 is positive 3. So the negative divided by the negative made a positive 3. Let's try it over here. We know that 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. And we know that multiplication is commutative, so we know that negative 6 times 5 is also negative 30. So in this fill in the blank, we've used the 5, we've used the negative 6, but we haven't used the negative 30. So we have negative 30 divided by 5 is negative 6. A negative number divided by a positive number was a negative number. And here we have negative 30 divided by negative 6 is positive 5. So a negative divided by a negative is positive. Fill in these blanks, press the pause button, and fill in the blanks and then unpause to check your work. So press the pause button now. So how'd you do? So here's what the big focus is our big focus is on these division problems and what happens when we divide with positive and negative numbers. So if we look here with the bold printed words, we're going to circle one of these words here. So when I divided a positive and a negative number, so that's like here, a positive and a negative number, I got a certain kind of answer. Positive and a negative number got divided, I got a certain kind of answer. So the quotient was negative when I divided a positive and a negative number together. Now let's focus on what happens when we divided a negative and a negative number. So when we divided a negative and a negative, we got a positive quotient. When we got a negative and a negative, we got a positive quotient. So the quotient was positive when I divided a negative and a negative. So here's the first thing you're going to do is you're going to answer these 9 problems, and then you're going to write down here how you divide a positive and a negative number together. Then you're going to flip the page. You're going to divide these 9 problems, and then write about how you divide with a negative and a negative number. Those are 2 of the things that are going to be checked off when you are done with your packet. And the last thing we need to do is look at the last page. So just like in English class, there are major themes in math. And a major theme in 7th grade is the theme of equality. So we've already talked about rewriting subtraction expressions as equivalent addition expressions. That's something we'll talk about actually in a future lesson. So here are some other examples of equality. So all of these expressions on the left-hand side are all equal. In the first example, we have this division problem or this fraction in parentheses. So the parentheses tell us to focus here first. 18 divided by 4 is 4.5. And then this symbol means the opposite of it. So the opposite of 4.5 is negative 4.5. This number means negative 18 divided by 4. And we know that a negative divided by a positive makes a negative answer. So 18 divided by 4 is 4.5. So negative 18 divided by 4 is negative 4.5. And then almost the same, but here we have the 4 being negative. So 18 divided by negative 4 is going to be negative 4.5. And what's important to note is that when you see a fraction means division. So if we look at these examples here, we have to select the 4 expressions that equal negative 5. So this first one, it doesn't equal negative 5 because it's positive divided by a positive, so that's going to get crossed out. In the next one, we have 55 divided by 11. So that's 5, and then this is the opposite of it, so that's negative 5, so that gets circled. Here, this is negative 55 divided by 11, so I know that 55 divided by 11 is 5, and then negative 55 divided by 11 is negative 5, so that gets circled. A negative divided by a negative is positive, so I know that that can't equal negative 5, so that gets crossed out. 55 divided by negative 11, I know that 55 divided by 11 is 5, and I know a positive divided by a negative is negative, so this has to equal negative 5. This one looks like a lot. So this is a negative 55 divided by negative 11. I know that negative divided by a negative is a positive, so that's positive 5. And then this sign on the outside means the opposite of that. So the opposite of positive 5 is negative 5, so that gets circled. Next, we're going to circle the expressions that equal negative 7. So looking at the first one, so negative 49 divided by negative 7, that's a negative divided by a negative. I know that's going to make positive, so it's not going to be equal to negative 7. 0 divided by negative 7, I know that when I do 0 divided by anything, it makes a 0, so that's a no. 49 divided by negative 7, I know that's going to be a negative answer, because a positive divided by a negative is negative. And 49 divided by 7 is 7. So that's -7. So that's a yes. -21 divided by 3. So that's 21 divided by 3. That's 7. And a negative divided by a positive is negative. So it's -7. So that's a yes. And this is going to be a no because it's a positive and divided by a positive. And I need it to equal a -7, not a +7. So that's a no. And in this next example, circling the expressions that equal 2.5. So I know it's not going to be this one because this is a positive divided by a negative, and that's going to make a negative answer. And my number is positive, so I'm not going to cross that out. 10 divided by 4. If I figure out what 10 divided by 4 is, so that's 2.5, so I'm going to circle that. A -10 divided by a -4. I know that a negative divided by a negative is positive. So that's going to be positive 2.5, so that's a yes. 5 divided by 2, so a negative divided by a negative, that's going to make positive. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, so that's a yes. I know this is going to be negative, so that's a no. And this is going to be yes, because it's 5 divided by 2. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, and it's positive. So what you're going to do now is you're going to make sure that all of the problems have been answered. Okay, so that includes these problems from the front. It includes the problems on the back of the first page and the problems at the top of the second page. You're going to show that to me when you're done. And then there's an IXL that you're going to do that I'm going to post to Google Classroom. And it's IXL 7B19. And you're looking for a score of 80 or higher. And then you're having me see that. So just to repeat, so you've got to show me that these questions are all done correctly, that these questions are done correctly, and then these questions are done correctly, and then you show me your finished packet. After you show me the finished packet, you work on the IXL, the second part of the classwork that you're going to get credit for is making sure that you get an 80 or higher on this skill. This is classwork, this is not homework, this is classwork. Okay, all right, let's get started.